anytime we veer off of the one simple truth, there is the need to backtrack or to clarify the intention behind words being used. Because everything that we say is veiled. We have to read between the lines to see what the mind is covering over. Some people call that listening with the heart. So we're not using the mind to try to pick at something and figure something out. This is already my true nature. I don't earn my true nature. I don't learn my true nature. There's nothing to understand about my true nature. I am that. In this moment, removing all effort, just being, just my beingness is the answer. When we start talking about that beingness, we say that beingness is not the body. It's not tied to the body. It's not tied to the fate of the human. It's not under any threat. It's not conditional. It's not subject to time. So these are all things we can say that it is not. There's nothing to say about it that wouldn't be ultimately a kind of misdirect or needing endless clarification. You are already what you're seeking. Stop seeking. Experience being, effortless being. You don't learn and you don't try to experience effortless being. We could say we remove the misconceptions and the resistance to just being. But that's too much. It's pointing to it, but it's not it. It's still too much. There's nothing to learn. There's nowhere to go. You haven't left yourself. You're not broken. You are not broken. You don't need to be redeemed. You don't need to juggle or contend with the so-called difficulties of human life. This doesn't impact you. Your true nature, total peace with all it is already here, is already you. We can use things like progressive muscle relaxation. We can go even further. We can practice yoga, take online courses of whatever type, go to a retreat. We have to do that knowing it's not the answer. It may be some kind of band-aid for this surface level situation, trying to improve circumstances, to create more contentment, make more friends, build community. Honestly, a lot of it is a huge misdirect, which is the mind wanting to gain more concepts, gain more intellectual understanding of complicated things to then be able to regurgitate. And that's a detour. That's not an achievement that we should be focusing on, or that we need to be focusing on. That has nothing to do with realizing my true nature. If that happens at a retreat, it's because I willed it. I was willing and I was determined to read between the lines of whatever was happening at that time. People get upset about retreats or one-on-one sessions, however much they cost, or how far away they are, or that they require you to stay at a fancy place that you're not comfortable with, whatever the case, that the mind takes issue with. This is all mind creating conditions and ultimately making excuses, creating the illusion of there's an amount of time and there's an amount of study that needs to happen, and I'm not being given access to that. But nobody is preventing you. Nobody can prevent you from realizing your true nature in this moment. So there are no barriers. There is nothing, not one thing, to take issue with. Taking issue is mind absorbing your attention, creating the illusion of a wrong that needs to be righted. It's clearly understood now by some teachers today, so-called teachers, because there's nothing to convey. Nothing real, only pointing toward it. But it's known that these things aren't necessary, that being in the presence of an enlightened one is not necessary. We're past the age of gurus. It's not to say there's not some utility in the relative with that, but it's ultimately not necessary. So if a teacher, so-called, is making themselves available for this, they can price it how they want to, because the people doing it are just choosing to do it. It's just the choice to be doing stuff. It's not the direct path to realizing one's true nature. It's not needed. It's not a barrier. Whatever they charge, it's got nothing to do with you and your true nature. Sit with this, and all issues start to unravel themselves. There's nothing to take issue with. That's beautiful. So ultimately, I don't need to be liberated from anything. In this moment, realizing that I am, that independent of a human being, I am. The liberation that's already here, that's already my true nature, will then permeate the experience. So then liberation is experienced. The effects of that come into manifestation. But I don't need to be liberated.